In a previous video, we talked about graphing lines, okay? We talked about graphing lines. And I had mentioned something and shown you how to use something called the y-intercept in order to more easily graph your line. But in this video here, I want to talk a little bit about how you might find the x or y intercept and maybe give you some intuition for what's actually going on here. Okay, so let's say you're given some equation and you're told you want to find the x and y intercepts, y equals 2x plus 2. Okay, so if you want to find the y-intercept is the place where the line crosses your y-axis. Okay, this is the place where your line crosses your y-axis, and the x-intercept is much like it. It's where the line crosses the x-axis. Okay, and if you want to find the x or y intercept, you will actually just set the opposite value equal to 0. Okay, so if we want to find the y-intercept here of y equals 2x plus 2, what we're going to do is we're going to set x equal 0. So for our y-intercept, we're going to set x equal to 0. So we have y is equal to 2 times 0 plus 2. Okay, 2 times 0 is 0. So we have 0 plus 2. And 0 plus 2 is just equal to 2. So we have a y-intercept of 2. And if we look over here on the graph, we see that indeed, if we go up 1, 2, we see that our y-intercept is indeed 2. Okay, and what's happening here is we're just moving along the x-axis in maybe in either direction, however you want to think of it. We're moving along this point until we get to 0. When we get to 0, that's where we're crossing our y-axis at this point. Same thing with our x-axis. We move along the y-axis until we get to 0. And when we get to 0, that's where we get to our x-intercept. Okay? So that's really what's happening when we're finding the x or y-intercept. That's why we set the opposing value equal to 0. So for our x-intercept, we are going to set y equal to 0. So we have 0 is equal to 2x plus 2. Okay? So now we just need to solve for x. So here we can take 2 away from both sides. Okay, so these cancel. And we are then left with 2x is equal to negative 2. So now we can divide both sides by 2. And we get x is equal to negative 2 over 2, which is just negative 1. And here we can see that our x-intercept is indeed at x equals negative 1. So our x-intercept is negative 1. You don't have to graph it every time you do this. This is just to kind of give you a visual demonstration of what's happening here. But let's do a couple more examples. Here we have 3x plus 6y is equal to negative 6. So let's say we want to find the x-intercept first. That means we're going to set y equal to 0. So we're going to have 3x plus 6 times 0 is equal to negative 6. So 6 times 0 is just 0. So this is the same thing as 3x plus 0 is equal to negative 6. Or we can just write this as 3x is equal to negative 6. So here we can just go ahead and divide both sides by 3. And we end up with x is equal to negative 6 over 3, which is just negative 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So our x-intercept is negative 2. Now let's see if we can find our y-intercept. So here we're going to set our x value equal to 0. So we have 3 times 0 plus 6y is equal to negative 6. Well, 3 times 0 is just 0. So we get 0 plus 6y is equal to negative 6. Or we have 6y is equal to negative 6. So from here, we can divide both sides by 6. And we get y is equal to -6 over 6, or just -1. So our y-intercept is -1. All right, let's look at 7x minus 4y equals -28. So our x-intercept, we're going to set y equal to 0. So we'll have 7x minus 4 times 0 equals -28. And since 4 times 0 is just 0, this is just the same thing as 7x is equal to -28. So now we can go ahead and divide both sides by 7. And we'll have x is equal to -28 over 7. But -28 over 7 is just 4. So we have -4. So -28 divided by 7 is -4. So we get -4. So our x-intercept is -4. For our y-intercept, we're going to set x equal to 0. Right? So we'll have 7 times 0 minus 4y equals -28. But this is the same thing as just -4y is equal to -28. And that's really because 7 times 0 is just 0. So we can divide both sides by -4. These will cancel, and we'll have y is equal to -28 divided by -4. So if you divide a negative number by another negative number, you're going to get a positive number. And then we have 28 divided by 4 is 7. So our final answer is just going to be 7.